So, love is a battlefield, and war is hell. So, love is hell? So, this was a movie came out earlier this year. It's on streaming now. I've now seen it. The Roses. I was curious about this one. I had seen the previous version. This is based off a book called The War of the Roses, which previously had an adaptation late 80s, early 90s, I forget which. Danny DeVito directed it. It was Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. Yes. Yes. Um, so I had some expectations, and I'm not like I try and take things on their own terms. I am going to make some comparisons to the previous version, even though I haven't seen that in probably 25 years? No, probably closer to 30. Regardless, it did kind of stick with me from having seen it. But, anyways, so this is the story of two people played by Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman. They meet, they fall in love, they have kids, and the cracks start to show. They are very compatible in a lot of ways, but once the split starts, it just starts to widen. And it is a dark comedy. So it's not doing that sort of romantic tragedy of like, oh no, this marriage falling apart as somebody, cheats and this person's lying. No, actually it's a bit more straightforward than that. So he is an architect in this version. I think he's a lawyer in the original. Anyways, he's an architect, working on some really big stuff. She is a chef, and when they get together and they have their kids initially, he's working on big projects, and she's largely taking care of the kids. But then fortunes kind of reverse. His career falls apart, and she opens a restaurant that takes off, and now suddenly he's the one handling the kids, and her career is booming. So he's getting, professionally jealous of her. She's getting resentful because he is molding the kids far more than she is as they get older, and just the venom builds up between them as it goes on. And Cumberbatch and Coleman are a real good fit for this. Like, you can tell that they're friends. They have fantastic performance chemistry. And that is regardless of whether they are insulting each other or flirting with each other. Like, there's some of the lines when they first meet. That's like, oh, that's a good line. Dang, man. Yeah, no, I'm not shocked that worked, especially with the delivery on it. And like, that's true for both of them. And then watching them split, but still have this great, very lively chemistry, even as they are starting to resent each other more and more and more. And it's pretty solid right up until the end. And I'm not sure how I'd feel about it if I hadn't seen the previous version, but I remember the ending. That's actually the thing I remember best about the previous version was the ending. And there's some small tweaks that on paper shouldn't make a big difference, but they kind of do. That is spoilery, though. Stick a pin in that. We'll come back to it. This has a decent supporting cast. You have Andy Samberg doing his usual shtick. You have Kate McKinnon as herself. I honestly think they should just start crediting her as that in movies. Kate McKinnon as herself. So, she's here doing her usual thing. Ncuti Gatwa's in this, which I think I'd seen his name attached to this at some point, but I completely forgotten he was in it. It's not the most memorable part, nothing to do with him, but it's very much a supporting part. And yeah, this is very much the Cumberbatch and Coleman show, and everyone else is just kind of pulled along for the ride. So yeah, he's there, he's fine. And again, it really is the two of them and their chemistry that really makes it work. Especially as like things kind of have ups and downs. It's one of the things that, at least to my memory, is a little bit different about this versus the previous version, because my memory, again, it's old and faded, but my memory of the earlier version was that things just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. What's interesting about this one is you start to see the resentment and the split, and then it's like they'll come back together and be like, okay, hold on, slow down. Here's a problem, let's figure it out. And they'll get a little bit better, but then they'll get even worse again. And I kind of liked the up and down of it as opposed to just a steady decline. I think that was a solid choice to make, especially with how good their chemistry. Like, their chemistry is so good that it makes sense that there'd be little blips of like, oh, maybe they can salvage it. Oh no, wait, no, definitely not. But now we got to talk spoilers, because I need to talk about the ending and why it doesn't quite work. There's two things about it that I don't think work. One is far more minor than the other. We'll deal with the minor one first. As we get to the end, it escalates to the point that they are trying to kill each other. He's like throwing knives at her. She has a gun and is firing it kind of wildly around. And while that is definitely an escalation compared to what had been going on before, I feel like it was supposed to escalate one notch higher than it did. I mean, yes, he's throwing knives, she's shooting at him, they're starting to wreck up this home that is this dream home that he built, that like actually was the massive splitting point. This was another detail that I liked, that like everything just came down to the house, because like there was a perfectly amicable solution. Let him have the house because he designed it and he considers it his baby, even though she paid for it, and she will take all the business. He'll make no claim to it, even though he bought her the first building that she was working from. Like, I'll make no claim on the business, you give me the house. Total amicable solution, to the point that the lawyers are even like, awesome, that's perfect. But the two of them are like, no. So like the house has been the sticking point, and they start to destroy it as they are trying to kill each other. But I just feel like it should have gotten 1 degree more extreme. I feel like the house didn't get wrecked enough, or possibly that them trying to actively kill each other didn't go on long enough. Like it felt like a roller coaster that it could have gone higher before the plunge. Like, I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that. That's a minor thing. The bigger problem is the very, very end. So I'm going to say what happens in the original version first. So I guess this is double spoilers. But in the previous adaptation of this book, and I believe it's the same ending in the book. I've never read it, but this is my understanding. That, yes, they are wrecking the house. They're trying to kill each other. There is a moment where, like, she's in danger and he's trying to help her, and they end up on the chandelier, and the chandelier crashes and they both land and they are dying, and he reaches out, to touch her. She just bats his hand away. It's sort of this little moment of, it almost feels tragic, like maybe he's realizing it didn't have to come to this, and she's just like, fuck off. And it's just this wonderful dark moment of like, yeah, nope, it was always gonna end like this. It was always going to come to this, wasn't it? Whereas here, there's this moment of reconciliation between the two of them. And like, so in the fight, their gas stove got damaged, and it's made very clear it is leaking gas. And so they start to reconcile, and he like takes her over to the bed and tells, the smart system in the house to turn on the fireplace. And then it fades to white, implying that, they just blew themselves up. And that, to me, is way more unpleasant. I suppose, like, as I said, on paper, it doesn't seem that different. But there's something about ending it on a note of, yeah, they genuinely might make this work, and then have this happen anyway. Just seems way meaner, as opposed to just sort of reaffirming, like, no matter what the audience might think, or no matter what one of these two might think at the moment, no, there was no salvaging this. It was always screwed. This ending on a moment of like, maybe they can make it work, boom. What? Yeah, it feels like a needless knife twist on the audience. And like, I suppose you could make the argument, yeah, they reconciled before, it still got worse. And like, yeah, but that's still the moment you chose to end on. It landed wrong, which is a shame. Because as I said, the ending of the original is one of the things that really, really stuck with me. I really liked that ending. Even as a teenager, I really liked that ending. This one just hit kind of wrong. Which is a shame, because up until that point, it was pretty solid. The supporting cast, like, they did their bits, and it was fine. There were some of the supporting characters I could have done without. None of the actors who I named, but there's a couple of other characters who are, like, friends of theirs who show up a couple of times, and I'm like, you're kind of awful people. And that's supposed to be the joke, that they're kind of awful people. But, like, they weren't awful in a fun way. I just kind of didn't like them. That's a minor thing, though. Like, the core heart of it, the chemistry between those two was really good. And then they just made that choice with the ending. And I'm like, oh. Oh, why? Why, though? Oh, well. The Roses. Have you seen it? Have you seen the previous version? Have you read the book? What are your thoughts on any of this? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. Those all help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. Now to thank my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lafula, Auntie Kate 808, Mira G, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Ulrich, Twilord, Mystic Shadow, Tracy Scrabbit, Pal Barabajoggle, Sir Didymus is my favorite, and shoutouts to some random folks from the lower tiers. Thanks to Callum Ray, 3 Muppets in a Trench Coat, and Alex Fireheart. If you want to hear me thank you by name, you can check out the reward tiers on the Patreon. You guys were pretty good today. Thank you.